Do we have a goodie for you guys today? So, I have been coaching for a little over a year. And one of the most consistent things that I hear when I'm on sales calls or just talking to people in general is this is pretty expensive or I can't afford that. And I really want to go into this because learning how to basically trick your brain into never thinking these words has fundamentally changed my life. And it started actually, six or, well, geez, I want to 6 or 7 years now coming up in 2025, where I completely destroyed this limiting belief for myself for the very first time. You see, when I very first got started in business, it was on accident. And the way I got started in business was I walked into a location where they sold smoothies, these protein meal replacements, primarily because my ex at the time posted about going to this place. And I was pretty irritated that they were moving on without me, right? I was a little bitter and I decided to stalk their Facebook page. And then upon doing that, I saw these smoothies in this place. So I was like, hey, let me go check this out. It happened to be close by where I lived at the time. So I walk into this shop. And when I go into the shop, the guy who owns it is a young dude, chiseled up, got some swag. They're playing rap music. I'm like, dang, this is dope. I talk to the young man and I say, hey, bro, nice to meet you. Like, what's going on? And he tells me he was 24 years old. The shop that we were in was, in fact, his shop, and he was the owner and operator. He's making about 6 grand a month at the time, and he had just got back from an all expenses paid trip to Cabo San Lucas through the company that opened up the shop and taught him how to do everything he was doing, right? And now this company is a multi-level marketing company, is the one that I would end up going to sign up for. But basically what happened is that this guy tells me his story, and right there for the very first time I can see a version of myself that I would like to be at that time. I believe I was 22 then. And so this guy's 24, he's 2 years older than me. He's got basically everything I think that I could need to be fully satisfied in life. Like 6 grand a month, he's paying bills, big dog, right? And I saw this and I talked to them. And so I basically, I mean, if any of you guys have ever done multi-level marketing or ever anything like this, sometimes the sales can be hard. But like for me, I was probably the easiest sale of all time. And this is only because I allowed myself, through inspiration of his story, to overcome my limiting belief of how much money I had. Right? So the guy, after completely blowing my mind about the possibilities of his life, tells me, okay, listen, I think that you could be a great coach to sign up for. I think you could do this wonderfully. Right? And he tells me, you're going to sign up for this program and lose weight with these products. And then if you know people and you're good at talking to people, you'll be able to sell it on the back end, right? And so I hear this and I think, well, sounds good, right? And so this total pitch of his comes out to about $276 at that time, right? And when he tells me that number, I kind of shuffled for a minute because in my bank account, I had literally just gotten paid a couple of days ago, which is sad to say this, but was only $500, right? And so this guy basically asked me for over half of my bank account. But again, for the first time, I, with no hesitation, said, I'm in. And I thought to myself, though, I said it with no hesitation, but I thought internally after I signed away the 277, and like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever ordered things like this, but this wasn't like a information product where you get access right away. Like I paid the 277 and then I had to wait an additional week for these products to even come in. So like I'm all excited. And if there's anything that can induce buyer's remorse, it was having to wait for the product to get shipped. So I was like tweaking, but I was like, man, I have to eat this stuff now, right? Because I literally don't even have any more money to go buy other food. And maybe some of you guys are thinking, oh, well, that's terrible. That guy did you wrong. He talked you into paying something that was more than what you should have paid at the time. And let me tell you this, had I not said yes to that opportunity, there is absolutely zero chance a couple things happen for me. There's zero chance I ever meet or get back with my wife today and have the beautiful, relationship that I have today if I don't say yes to this investment. I'll explain. There's no way I ever leave the country if I don't make this investment. There's no way I ever learn to make money or to ever really find out about personal development and the goats if I didn't make this investment. There's no way I would have done almost every single thing, including finding my gift and passion for speaking with people, if I had not made that investment. Now, this is not a pro statement for multi-level marketing at all, or the company I even took. What this is pro is of living in the end like I'm always talking about. See, what happened in that moment was I said I was going to be able to afford and do it, and I was going to tell the universe and God right then and there that I mean business. I was going to put my money where my mouth was. And I can tell you, 2 years later, at the age of 24, I myself opened up my very own brick and mortar location, just like the man who inspired me. Not only that, I got invited to an invite only vacation to Cabo San Lucas, all expenses paid, and where I would ask my wife to marry me there. I got pictures, there's videos of it on here. You guys can go look. Maybe I'll put one on the screen. And then I've even gone on to create my high ticket coaching program where people pay me, a 4-figure investment to work with me. Right. And I have done all of this primarily because at one point in time, 7 years ago, sorry, it feels like 5, but 7 years ago, I said yes to something that on paper was more expensive than I could handle. But what happened? I expanded my view, I expanded my world to fit this cost. And here's the other realization I had. I also realized you can pretty much afford anything that you really want to. Now, before I get people freaking out, because there are some people who genuinely are penny pinching, and you're working 50 hours a week and you're doing the things and you got a family and you don't have any support system and there's nobody to cover your expenses, right? I'm not trying to be disrespectful to that situation. But for most 90% of people who just have the leisure time to just sit on their phone and watch YouTube, you guys are not in that boat, right? Like the rest of us have to understand and come to terms with, okay, what is it that we're going to do with this next step? Once we take into consideration that we're at a crossroads, okay, here at this crossroad, we have one path where we accept that this thing is expensive and we can't afford it and it's out of our justification, when in reality, most 9 times out of 10 is only a value problem. We just don't think the thing is valuable enough to sacrifice whatever we have to sacrifice in order to afford it. But on this side, we can justify and we can find reasons, and then we can expand and we can grow, and you can get creative and you can get resourceful in order to make it work, especially when you know it's going to be aligned and carry with your overall vision. And a perfect example of this is like if you guys really think about any item that you've actually really wanted, and it doesn't even matter what it is, whether it was a computer, whether it was some new shoes, whether it was if you're a sports player, it's like a new equipment. If you play golf, it's like new golf clubs. It literally does not matter. If you think about it long enough, you will figure out a way, whether you got to get your credit, whether, the stars align and Christmas, somebody gives it to you, whether you work side jobs and you save up money 200 at a time, 200 at a time, 10 times in a row, you got 2,000. It's possible. Not only that, you've already done it for things that don't serve you, right? And I had to have this realization with myself. And in that moment, I had the realization with that coach where I just was like, okay, dude, you can put up or shut up, right? I could continue walking on, keep all 500 of my dollars, continue to go, probably spend the same 276 on legitimately dumb stuff. At the time, I was smoking cigarettes. I was drinking like 32-ounce coffees from Speedway. That was like 24 ounces of coffee and 12 ounces of creamer, just straight International Delight sugar to the veins, right? This is my life. And so I was spending like $13, $15 a day on quite literally nothing. That was doing nothing for me, right? And so I had to realize, okay, bro, you can take this same money, multiply that every single day. That's like $300-$400 a month. Bro, that's your $400-$500 a month, bro. You're throwing like $6K away a year. Right. But then when somebody comes up with an opportunity, albeit there's a lot of opportunities that aren't worth it. There's a lot of expensive things that aren't worth it. But when you come up across something expensive that you see has value for your life, when you know that the expensive thing that you're dealing with can literally leap in bounds and take you to a new level, then that thing is no longer expensive. It's an investment. And if you return on that investment, it's almost like it's free, right? And the skills you keep from investing in yourself literally go on for a lifetime. Like I said, the multi-level marketing investment that I made, $276, right? I lost weight and I got in the company. And then that next month I went full time. I was a hustler. Yes, that was because of my hard work. Yes. But the overall spark that became the forest fire of my entrepreneurial life, especially in the personal development space, began with a simple yes to something that was literally too expensive. But when you expand and when you don't agree and when you reject the current reality and you start to embrace the desired reality of abundance, when you say, I know that I can tell you guys in my program, there's clients who I know putting down the deposit or entering in the program was a uncomfortable investment for them. But those are always the clients who get the best results because they're all in, because they're focused, because they're willing to do whatever it takes in order to recover and to get to that next level. When I went through my coaches program, when I paid for my mentorship program, there's been a lot of times where people have dropped prices I was not prepared to hear. Right? The most recent program that I invested in for myself cost just shy of $8,000. Right? And I had to really be like, dang, that's crazy. Right? But when I realized, okay, this thing will take me to the next level, this investment will put me where I want to go. Well, the next month we did 20K in revenue in our business. After seeking an investment that was more than I was ready to pay, my business got more revenue than I was honestly ready to handle. We had to slow down and restructure the whole company because I didn't even know what to do with all the leads. Right? So this is, I hope this video is helpful for you guys. I'm not even saying maybe you're not, trying to worry about my program. Maybe literally, I pray that if you've been on the fence and you follow somebody else, even, I don't even care, like somebody else who is qualified in your space, who has been telling you, who has the key to where you want to go, and that you've identified that through their content, through maybe talking to them, maybe you got on a sales call with them, whatever, and you have truly identified that this is the thing for you to the next level. You got the resonating feeling. You got on that call and you heard all the deliverables, you heard all the pillars, and you knew that that was for you, but you just couldn't see a way to afford it. I'm willing to bet that if you don't allow yourself to simply say, okay, that's too much for me, and instead you give your brain the task of figuring out how are you going to increase your own earning potential to be able to afford that, you will never see the true potential you have. And on the flip side of that coin, if you're able to expand and instead of saying you can't afford things, instead ask yourself, how can I create enough value in my life? How can I create an offer? How can I create enough business? How can I create enough value to the market, to my friends, to my family, to whatever? How can I use the skills that I already have to literally already afford this with what I have today? If you can ask yourself that question, and maybe not right away, you're going to receive an answer from you internally, and you have to quiet your mind in order to do that. And when you receive that answer, it's only going to be up to you to follow it. Don't go around telling people what the answer is. If you guys try this out and you go, okay, I want to get out of this, I want to be able to afford this expensive thing that's caught my eye, this expensive coaching program or this expensive investment into my business, I want to grow my financial abilities, right? Don't go around telling everybody and their mom that some light skin on the internet told you to do that and you're looking for a way to get more money, right? Keep it within yourself. Ask it to yourself. When you get an idea, say you guys do this and the internal self says, yeah, you really need to start that podcast you said you were going to start. Just go start the podcast. Don't go tell everybody you're going to do it. Don't go posting about going to do it. Don't think about doing it. Just get it done. Okay? Things are only expensive if you allow yourself to believe that. There are things that you have no idea that you can afford and that you can attract into your life because you were called to have those things. You just got to do the right things and you got to focus on the right way. All right, guys, I hope you love this video. If you want to know more about my course mindset or working with me one-on-one, you can book a call and we'll talk. Nobody else, just me and you, uno to uno, and we'll figure out how we can level up your life and business to the next level. Peace, love, and prosperity. Should be a good video here or there. I don't know.